I don't care if it's 1967 or 2024, you always open the car door for a lady. This just is warming my heart, seeing a man treat a lady like this, seeing a man be self-respecting, respectful to his fellow men as well. I wish we saw more of this today. Isn't it amazing how much dancing has changed? In literally 50 years, we went from this kind of thing to, well, we all know what happens in nightclubs these days. This must be satire. This must be a joke. In the 50s and 60s, new recruits were provided training videos on everything from etiquette to dating. As a young man who believes in being a gentleman, who values tradition and chivalry in dating, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at the advice that the US Navy was giving in 1967. So let's take a look at this movie together.
How to succeed in business, or with brunettes, or blondes. They're all important missions, wouldn't you agree? Well, here's one way to tackle the brunette problem. See what you think.
For the record, brunettes
First of all,
are my type.
Be late. That'll show her you're a busy, important person, that you're not too interested in her. Play hard to get. After all, you're worth waiting for. This will make a great first impression.
I wonder how late they're recommending a man be. Personally, I would recommend to not be late at all.
Then, laugh it off. Apologize? Oh, come on, don't be a square. Okay, now the topper. Show.
I think it's a very bad move to start off the date by not only being late, but then by apologizing for it. You basically start off saying, yeah, I'm not really a man of my word, and I'm sorry about that. It just seems very weak and juvenile.
Her what a sense of humor you have by holding her coat just a little bit too high. That's right. Next, be masterful, protective. Grasp her arm firmly and steer her down those steps to the car. She can see that you're the aggressive masculine type. What are you doing? Opening the door? You'll spoil your image. Oh, that's better. Sure, treat her as an equal.
Completely disagree
like
with
that.
this.
Besides, if you're late,
no.
there's no sense wasting time on things she can do for herself.
I don't care if it's 1967 or 2024, you always open the car door for a lady and close it once she's safely inside.
Let's face it, sometimes there's just not enough time for good manners, right?
Completely disagree. There's always time for good
a
manners.
Continued supply of chances to make an impression on your companion. Don't pass one up. It's always good for a laugh and an opportunity to show off your leadership qualities. How? By leading the way, going first, naturally.
Definitely
Boy,
not.
keep leading the way.
The woman always
Naval
leads
officers
first into the
always
restaurant.
lead their men, or their women in this case. When you get to your table, sit down immediately. Shows you're relaxed.
So you should always pull the chair out for the woman and allow her to sit down first. And you'll notice here how he put his hat on the spare seat. You should allow the woman to put her handbag on the spare seat first. Then if you have a hat or something like that, you could also use
With
it.
her coat? Well, you helped her on with it. Besides, it's her coat. She should have checked it anyway. Oh,
The days
yes.
when you could smoke in a
Make
restaurant.
sure you're seated so you can see what's going on, too. Makes for a much more interesting evening. Now, here's perfect opportunity to demonstrate your independence. Remain seated. After all, it's not during working hours, and you are doing him a favor by presenting your date to him. On the other hand, she should be impressed by meeting a senior officer. No question about it. This young lady will be grateful for such a lovely evening with a charming person like you.
This must be satire.
That's
This must
one
be a
approach
joke.
to the problem of how to succeed with brunettes. Suppose we consider another way and see what you think.
Oh,
How
I
about
think it is a
starting
joke.
by being on time? Not
I
just
think it
for
is
a
a
date,
joke.
but for
Okay.
any social engagement or business
Okay.
appointment. This indicates you are a dependable, business-like person. That the
Absolutely.
appointment means something to you. And let's face it, a good-looking girl isn't going to wait around too long for anybody. Too many young men on the prowl. Make it
On the
easy
prowl.
for her to slip into her coat. Hold it at the right height. That's being thoughtful. Watch the hair. If you muss it, you're going to lose points.
This
no,
is more like
you
it.
don't grab her arm. You offer assistance. If she needs it or wants it, she'll take your hand, or perhaps your arm. But once the need for assistance is past, she'll give it back to you. So don't be surprised. Yes, doors do offer an excellent chance to make a good impression. It's a way to show your respect for ladies,
Perfect.
or your seniors
Perfect.
for that matter. Thoughtfulness.
That's the thing with opening doors. Sometimes chivalry, it's actually about treating your date the same way that you would treat your grandma.
Making things easier for someone else. This is at the heart of good manners, and in the heart of every gentleman. Besides, it's the way to succeed with brunettes. Ladies first. It's an old saying, but a good one 90% of the time. Of course, if you're entering a restaurant or something comparable and there's no maitre d' or hostess to lead you to a table, then you would lead the way and select a table. She'll expect you to help her off with her coat and arrange it over the back of her chair so it's not all over the floor. No, she shouldn't have checked it. It is common practice for a lady to wear her coat to the table. Although if she indicates a preference for checking it, that's fine too. There.
That's interesting. I don't see this one practiced too much, where a woman would rather not check her coat but keep it at the table. Maybe that's something that's changed a little bit
She
with
has
the
an
times.
excellent view of the room. Good thinking. You want her to have a good time, and being able to see what's going on will be half of the fun. If you have a visitor, and you probably will when you have a companion like that, stand to show your respect for a senior or a lady. This isn't just military etiquette, it's being a gentleman. And you present a man, even if it's the admiral himself, to a lady. Respect again. It's
I
his
love this.
pleasure
This
to meet her.
just is warming my heart, seeing a man treat a lady like this, seeing a man be self-respecting, respectful to his fellow men as well. I wish we saw more of this today.
In this case, there isn't much doubt about it. Check the menu with your date. And if you have any knowledge about the specialties of the house or know particularly good dishes, let her in on it. But once you have both decided, you do the ordering. Well, that's another approach to how to succeed with brunettes. Looks like a winner, wouldn't you say?
I would say.
Let's take another typical situation. Going to the theater. You know, there seems to be something wrong here. Ah, that's it.
Can you guess? I wonder if you guys at home can guess.
He's walking on the wrong side. Wonder what his next move will be. A taxi. That means a door. And that means... Yes, sir, this fellow's a born leader. One thing you could say, he's consistent, isn't he? Wait a minute. What's happening here? The girl out first? Well, I guess he boxed himself in by getting into the taxi first. Oh, too bad. But he'll make it up. That's right.
I wonder if any of you still go on movie dates. It seems like in the 50s and 60s that was the thing to do, and everybody went to the cinema all the time. It was so popular. These days, I barely know anybody that actually goes and watches movies. I don't think I've been to a cinema since last year to watch Oppenheimer.
Pick the seats you want. Whoop. Pardon me, sir. Sorry about that. Now, to settle down and enjoy the movie. Nothing like a little snack to add to the fun. And your neighbors will love you. What do you say we go through this situation again? The right way. The way
Somehow
that's
he's now got
successful
two
with
ladies.
brunettes. That's more like it. You walk on the curb side at all times, or on her left. And when you part company or meet a lady, a salute is the proper greeting or farewell. It's
Obviously, this only applies to military personnel, and I'm sure that even today, a military man on the street in civilian life wouldn't salute to a lady. A little outdated, maybe.
the same thing as tipping your hat when you're in civilian clothes. Believe me, the brunette is impressed. That's right. Ladies first. It's a good rule most of the time, and logical if you consider that the reason is to make things easier for the lady.
See here, I wouldn't expect her to scoot down. I would let her in her side, close the door, and then walk around the back of the car and get in the other side. Now, this is so uncommon. It's the right way to do things. That's proper chivalry, in my opinion. But this is so uncommon that I once did this when an Uber pulled up. I was with a lady, actually just a friend. It wasn't even a date, but I still opened the door for her. She got in. I walked round to go through the other side, and the Uber started driving off.
Now, here's one of those situations where the lady doesn't go first. The reason you go first is to make things easier for her, to open the door and assist her in getting out of the automobile. It makes sense, just as most gentlemanly traditions do. Right. It's her decision on where to sit, not yours. If you want to make a good impression, be considerate of the other person. Adjust your preferences to hers. And
I agree. I think a lot of women are not so assertive as they will say where they want to sit unless you ask them. So it might be a good idea to offer them an option such as, shall we sit here? And if she goes, oh, I don't know, I don't mind. Maybe go, how about here? Which would you prefer out of the two? You can give them options to choose from.
if you feel you must nibble on something during the show, at least do it quietly, out of consideration for your neighbors. Well, you're squared away on how to succeed in restaurants and theaters. Let's take another situation. Here's a beautiful way to succeed with brunettes at a dance, at a party, wherever you may go. Leave her to shift for herself occasionally. She'll appreciate you all the more when you do return. Sure she will. When you are with her, be affectionate. Show her and the other people present just how much you care for her. She'll love it, if she happens to be an exhibitionist. And for goodness sake, don't let anything or anybody spoil your fun. Don't get stuck being a nursemaid for somebody else's date. Let him worry about her. A good way to make an impression is to hold your partner tightly while moving all over the dance floor. She'll love it. Want to dance all night with you.
Shall we rest for a while? I feel as though I'm coming down with a cold or something. Maybe you could take me home.
And then there's the right way to do things. Make sure your date has a good time, meets and dances with your friends. At other times, your place is with her. Be considerate. That's your main obligation. And if another young lady is left alone for some reason, stand by until her escort appears. Consideration for others, kindness. This is being a gentleman. Dancing. This is good duty, no question about that. Enjoy it, but be in good taste. Show respect for your date and her reputation, and she will respect you. Success with brunettes, or blondes, or just about anybody, is built upon respect. And
Isn't
being
it
a gentleman...
amazing how much dancing has changed? In literally 50 years, we went from this kind of thing to, well, we all know what happens in nightclubs these days.
is to command respect. How to succeed with brunettes? Be a gentleman.
I love it. I love it. This thing really warmed my heart to watch. I hope it did you too. I think it goes to show that the archetype of fuckboy and gentleman have always existed. There have always been men who didn't know how to treat ladies. Unfortunately, I think we see many more of those types of men today. And it's no wonder that women are feeling a little bit, what's the word? A little bit disheartened that there aren't any gentlemen out there anymore. But I know there are. I know that they are watching this channel and they are taking notes. Now, if you are a gentleman and you wish to meet other men who share those traditional gentlemanly values, then you can join the Gent Z community and you will have a new private network of gentlemen around the world. And twice a week we gather on a video call with me. We discuss some important issues for men today, important issues about etiquette, chivalry, dating, etc. So if you're that kind of man, I think you would really enjoy being involved in these conversations, involved in the discussion forums, and also you will have some access to exclusive video content that I will never post on YouTube. So the link is down below to join that community, and I look very much to introducing you to the other gentlemen in the group.